Well, it continues to be a good morning. The sun is coming up, and I trust that it is touching your skin wherever it is that you are. We continue on with Morning at NTV. Our Kickstarter this morning focusing on Uganda tourism and some of the initiatives that are embedded in boosting the sector post-COVID-19. My name is Priscilla Regina Neloga. You're most welcome in case you have just tuned in to NTV. Now, for the last 6 years, the Uganda Tourism Board has organized an expo to bring together both public and private sector stakeholders along the tourism value chain. This has enabled creation of business as well as networking opportunities for the tourism sector and greatly enhancing the economic development and social transformation of our country, Uganda. Now, according to the World Tourism and Travel Council, the global tourism sector is now recovered at 65% of the pre-pandemic arrivals, and full recovery of the sector is expected to be on with 2023 as a starting point and beyond. So far, this year's Tourism Expo is going to be focusing on a recovery tool for the sector, where you do have over 300 exhibitors expected in attendance. I am joined by Mr. Kato Issa, who is the board member with the Association of the Uganda Tour Operators, but he's also a member of the National Organizing Committee for POATE. Good morning to you, Issa, and you're most welcome to Morning at NTV.
Good morning, Priscilla, and good morning to our viewers. Thank you for hosting us as tourism. Yes. Beginning from what you have said, it's so much interesting to let Ugandans know that there are so many other initiatives that have been happening around, done by the different sector players, and POATE is now one of them from government. They are providing a platform for the world to see Uganda. So we are coming in to host people, we are coming in to organize our people, bring them together so that we can showcase the beauty of this country.
Okay, so what is the core objective of POATE, and what is POATE?
POATE is a Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. As you have said, for the last 6 years, this is the 7th one. We've hosted people from our key source markets to come and interact with our service providers or the suppliers of tourism so that we can sell the country as one. So this is the 7th one. We had the last one in 2021, which was purely online, and that was because of COVID. And then last year it was cancelled, and this year we are now coming in to do a purely physical one where we are bringing, as you said, 300. There are 300 exhibitors, and among those ones we are also bringing 100 hosted buyers. The hosted buyers, these are people or tourism boards. We have companies that come from these key source markets that are interested actually in selling Africa. So we are attracting those to come into Uganda, and we interact with them, and we sell Uganda as a preferred destination to the market out there.
Okay, so for 6 times running, what has been the impact of POATE on building the tourism sector?
The impact has been so well. If you go back to where tourism was, especially in terms of visibility, POATE has been a key method in bringing together the sector players together with other countries that are selling Africa. We have been doing so many other initiatives, but quantitatively we can't say, but I can tell you that POATE as a platform has contributed immensely in bringing together business people, and then they transact, and that's why you see by 2019 we had about 1.5 million visitors in this country, contributing almost $1 billion, so $1.6 billion. So we still want to galvanize our energies and bring our sector players together with those people so that they can sell us, and we get those tourism numbers back into the the country.
Well, COVID-19 brought with it advantages. One of it is that you had to have Poate as an online, exhibition, for which it attracted so many people from across the globe. I had the privilege of participating in it, and I met people from Australia, I met people from Ghana, I met people from different parts of the world, which was very exciting and intriguing to see how people were boosting tourism in their different area codes. However, if you're going back to default settings, how does that benefit Uganda to the global community?
Well, actually, as you mentioned, it was the first of its kind in East Africa, and in fact, it is the most participated to expo.
Yeah, because you opened it a few days earlier, allowing people to find communities of engagement before the official expos that were taking place.
It was largely participated to by so many people across the world. But again, we were interacting online, and you saw that there were still so many other restrictions on travel, and the impact was not that so good because other people had still restricted travel, and the travel advisories were still menacing the whole sector. But as of now, the world has unlocked. Everyone is now open to travel. We would really want to bring them back here in this country. We are going to also carry out farm trips. The farm trips are familiarization trips. They are going to get closer. They are going to get a taste experiences of Uganda before they can go back to those countries to sell Uganda. So the main reason why they needed to come here is to have a taste of Uganda, is to explore Uganda, and they go back well knowing the product they are going to sell out to their prospective clients.
Okay, all right. We were hoping that we'll be building from that, engagement. But nevertheless, what are the expectations of the 7th edition of Poate?
Well, I would tell you that this is going to be one of the biggest. First of all, we are going to introduce to you about the new innovations in the tourism sector. There are so many people out there with maybe properties, someone who is interested in tourism, you're interested in investments, you're interested in so much about tourism. This is going to be your opportunity to let you have access to that information. And for the tourism sector and our key players, this is going to be a very, very, very good platform because we have brought people from Africa, different countries that are key source markets for Uganda especially. For example, Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, Nigeria, those are Africans. There are so many, there are about 7 countries that are coming in here. We have from Europe, we have in UK, UK is in Europe, but we segment those markets according. You have German speaking, you have then English, and then you have United States, you have Asia, you have China. So everyone is coming here in this country to see what we are able to do, and we want to assure them that we can actually host them in this country.
Okay, you've talked about Africa, but also the East African region. Seemingly, from statistics, Africa continues to be the largest source of Uganda's tourists. You do have Kenya contributing to the largest source for arrivals here. You do have Rwanda, Tanzania, Ethiopia. What have we done within the region to enhance those, arrivals within the region?
And again, if you look at other players like Uganda Wildlife Authority, they have a different rate card for East Africans. It's different. And again, we have carried out campaigns. We have also participated in their expos. Last year we were in Magical Kenya. We also launched the brand in Kenya. We were in Tanzania. The same, that is last year. We have been to Rwanda. So we are moving around as a community. So this time we are there and then they are here. And actually you would realize also many Ugandans also travel to Kenya. Many travel to Tanzania. Majority travel to Kenya basically for leisure. But the Kenyans would travel to Uganda basically for business, and relationships. Yeah. So when you study the dynamics, they tell you the reasons why these people keep on traveling amongst themselves in this region. But again, you have people like Nigeria,
Because that's what I was going to say, that if we're faring well within the region, how best can we then tap into other parts of Africa, especially the north of Africa, to bring in those dollars back to Uganda?
The North Africans, we would also put, we are attracting them, but they were categorized, I think, under the Middle East. And you see that their travel here is still low, but we are trying to improve on them. Among those countries we are attracting, we have those people in that belt, but their contribution was about 2%. So we are making sure that we can attract them. Is that
translated as there's nothing they feel is worth bringing them to Uganda?
No, there is worth it. But we need to also prepare the products, the tourism products, probably that would be appealing to them. But again, we have to focus on such countries that have got those people that are interested in selling the specific destinations. Now, like Nigerians, they have so many, I think, companies or suppliers of tours that are interested in maybe gorilla tracking, in safari tours like that. So we have to also focus on that before we would probably look into the areas where that are so green about our potential as a country.
Okay, all right. You have mentioned what attracts them here. One of the challenges presently on ground in Kampala is potholes. To different destination centers across the country, there's been a continuous cry of the poor road networks, and that definitely, you know, is demeaning for what we're trying to promote as tourism, good tourism in Uganda. How are you actually aiding that challenge?
We have had engagements. I think in the last month we had an engagement with the ministry. It was we converged the meeting of all the key partners, especially in the tourism sector, because tourism is an amalgamation of so many other players. Now you can imagine that meeting, you have Ministry of Transport, you have Ministry of Works, you have Ministry. So we had a meeting as a group, and we got assurances that actually they are going to work on that. We had the major challenge of the tourism roads in these other attraction centers. Reaching there is okay, but now when you reach in those places, we've had the challenges of the road network. So they gave us assurances that actually they are going to work on them, and they gave us a list of certain roads that are already in the budget. So we are hopeful that they are going to do that, so that we can also sell what is nice, especially at the destination.
Okay. You talked about exhibitors, and I trust that not all the 300 are Ugandans. So how has FOWATE been able to attract exhibitors from different parts of the world? Yeah,
because I sit on the NOC, we engaged these people who are specifically selling Africa, especially those that are in these other foreign nations or outside Kampala. So we look for only agents that sell Africa on their bucket list. So we interest them to put Uganda on their itineraries. So those who are interested were definitely picked to come here and still engage. Because as we are bringing, there are 100 in number, and then we have our other exhibitors from Uganda that are going to meet with them. These are the tourism, these are suppliers, especially Ugandan is a supplier, then you are bringing a buyer. So in those few days that we have, we are going to have business-to-business interaction and meetings and signing of contracts, and you know, so we are looking forward to making sure that the hundreds that will come here will go back at least with itineraries, with people to work with on ground here in this country.
Okay, let's talk about the complementaries of tourism, one of them being staffing. And I know that the industry's workforce actually was downsized, especially for employees, and tourism entities had to downsize because of COVID-19. What is the status of, you know, turnover recovery as we speak, 2023?
Yeah, as you said, you talked about those figures actually before. That is the recovery rate right now is at around 65%, and people are coming back, especially now. The biggest employers were in the areas of accommodation. You have the foods and beverages. You talk about the restaurants, and then you talk about the agriculture itself, because the largest expense of tourists when they come is majorly on accommodation, on food, and on transport in most cases. So you see that there's a large number of people employed in those areas, so they were affected. But now, as the growth has taken to 65%, we are looking forward to push up to 100. That's what we are looking for, and initiatives like Powate are going to help us do that.
Okay, let's talk about you talked about the 1.5 that was before 2019.
Travelers.
Yeah, travelers into the country before 2019. We need to go back and even surpass that figure.
Yeah, because
I think within these 4 years we should have been able to go back to that figure. So where do we stand, especially with the Uganda Tourism Board and what Powate as an initiative are doing?
Well, it's aggressive marketing. Definitely, it's aggressive marketing. We have taken part in 2 different expos, the US, Europe, in the months of January up to where we are now. We have been doing a lot of marketing out there.
And if I may probe, in those interactions that you have had at those different expos, what have been presented by other people as fears for Uganda as a tourism destination preferred?
Well, one of the key areas has always been a lack of information about Uganda. Because when you talk about a safari to someone out there, the first thing which comes into their mind is Kenya. When you talk about gorillas...
Last week there was a Kenyan who had a Ugandan safari. She went on Twitter to say that she didn't even know Uganda had
Kenyan, imagine a Kenyan.
And Ugandans blew it out of proportion.
I mean, they attacked her, but that is the truth. Now, when you go out there, people don't have so much information about Uganda. You have to explain using neighbors. You see, Uganda is a neighbor to Kenya. You see, Uganda is a neighbor to Tanzania.
So Kenya has lions. We also have some lions.
Have lions.
Right.
Actually, we would say we have better ones because they are not so much so exposed to mass tourism. And you start to bring in those key elements which are now becoming a global concern, especially sustainability and responsible tourism. Uganda, we are still good. Then you talk about gorillas, they don't know so much. And we have the majority of the gorillas amongst these other 3 countries, the gorilla corridor. We have majority gorillas. But the few people know about Uganda, and few people know about our capacity to host them. Some of them don't even think we have 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels, and it is so much important to them in making a decision to travel to such a destination. So one of them is that, and then another one would be about the past issues of peace, and you have to comfort them. Then now we have a new one of homosexuality. Recently I was in Texas, Dallas, and it was the most common issue. Concern that guys, they think that we are going to be finding someone walking on the road and we hang them.
If it refers to others, then please move to the next country.
So that's the information they had. So, but we are trying to see how we can manage information in this country, and working out with other auxiliary systems within the government, especially other ministries like health. If you have a pandemic, how do you handle it? You talk about parliament. If you have an issue like that, how do you package it? Because other countries are doing that. Kenya itself does not allow it. These other countries did. But how do you package your information out there to give us simple work also when we are out there talking about our country?
Okay. What support is the government committing to in order to help, with marketing Uganda?
One of them, the key ones, is providing us peace. If you give us peace in this country, and there's no doubt about that. Just know that you are going to have tourists. Then these other areas of marketing, this is one of the interventions. We have interventions of getting in touch with other people to support the sector, like PSFU, and they are supporting in a big way, especially in areas of marketing. We are now talking about sustainable tourism, and you see the drives have intensified. You need to train people in product knowledge. You need to work with communities to come up with much more product, because the nature of tourism is actually changing to experiences. People are no longer just come to see and they go back. They want an experience. If he comes to see the lions, but he wants to experience with the community as well, to know that, to have those memories at the end of the day. Okay. So the government is working with the private sector. Of course, we cannot put them on the side. They are doing whatever they can in providing all these other necessary services to support us. Because if you have a poor road, you will not have a good tourism. If you don't have security, if you don't have power, if you don't have those other services. So they are putting in place all these things. Okay.
All right. Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. Give us the details. When is it happening? Who's eligible to exhibit? Who is invited? And all the details.
Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo is open to everyone who has got a pinch of connection to tourism. We are inviting everyone. Apparently we have the exhibitors as travel suppliers, but if you are making crafts, you have an association, you come. We are inviting associations, we are inviting travel agencies, tour operators, the accommodation, you know, people with hoteliers, people with properties. You know, we have now a new innovation in Airbnb.
Yes.
And we are welcoming them.
That's the new trend.
Yeah, let people come with those properties, put them on sale, come and we tell you what to do with them. Schools, investors, we want everyone there to come and participate. However, these first 3 days are going to be for these key people who are going to do their business, and on the last day, the 29th, is when it's going to be very open for every Ugandan. You just come in and have an experience, have interaction with these people who are going to supply you with travel plans, travel programs. Come and buy packages at a cheaper price. People are going to have discounts there. You come and sell, and support your country as well. But there are so many other people that are coming in as exhibitors. It's not only Uganda. The Kenyans are coming in here. People are coming from Mombasa. People are coming from Zanzibar. People are coming from South Africa. People come with packages, so you can come and pick up the area of your interest and buy a package for yourself and your family.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Issa Kato, who is sitting on the organizing committee for Poetry, and that's a very good initiative. I have had the privilege of attending them, and it was a good interaction. Got to meet lots of people, but also I enjoyed some of those packages. Buy Uganda, build Uganda is what we're simply saying. Domestic tourism is the best tourism that we can aid our country with to support it for the next financial year budgeting processes that are coming through. They're all tied into together. Anyway, this brings us to the end of Morning at NTV. Thank you so much for having allowed us take a notch of your time, but on an informative note. My name is Priscilla Regina Naluoga. On behalf of Chris Higeni, this brings us to the end of the show.
Thank you.